We had a rare glimpse into the life of our victim, words written by her own hand. We could say she may well have been in an unhealthy relationship with Thomas, a man who himself was involved in some way with our law firm today. They attempted to perform some ritual to bring something into the world, which Maria seems to have stopped. Was she killed in the attempt, or afterwards as punishment? We still don't know. She used something called the Powder of Ibn Ghazi. We have no idea what this is or how it was used, but Dr. Armitage has made the decision to look into the book and attempt to learn all he can, as well as bringing a Dr. Morgan in to ask for his expert advice. I can only assume that Kerwin, Olney and Marsh today are attempting to complete whatever ritual that their ancestors had been attempting before, and given that the powder was used to stop it then, they might be searching for it now to destroy it, or keep it safe. But also, they sent Whately after the book, so perhaps they need this too. We can do nothing until we have learned more. Professor Rice and I are going to the Whately farm once we have secured Ibn Ghazi. Are you sure we can trust him?
I'm sure. Besides, if we want to test the compounds in the powder, we need Dr. Morgan's expertise. Henry will keep an eye on him besides.
For the sake of our listeners, we decided against either leaving the powder in the Carter family box or carrying it around with us in Dunwich. Instead, Dr. Armitage has given it to Dr. Morgan for safekeeping, telling him it was vital he kept hold of it, and that we wanted him to check out what it actually was.
It won't be long now.
What are we expecting to find, exactly?
I'm not sure exactly. I've never actually seen Whately's farm up close. Anything suspicious, like what he was doing with all the cattle that came in but never went out? Or maybe messages and letters from Kerwin, Olney, and Marsh.
Are you sure he lives alone?
There is no one else on the tenancy of the land. He wasn't known for having any family. No one else has been seen there, so I'm fairly certain he lived alone.
How are you, by the way?
What do you mean?
Well, it must have been hard listening to Maria's journal.
It was discomforting, sure. But you have to remember, young man, that from my point of view, she was not really a factor in my life. I am, of course, sad she ended up the way she did, having to sacrifice herself in some way. But every family will have heart-wrenching stories somewhere in the past. I wish to honor her memory by making sure her sacrifice was not in vain. Then I will sit alone by my fireplace and raise a glass in her memory, and she will find a place in my heart.
You always wear your burden on your heart?
Exactly. There's the farm in the distance.
Dr. Rice is pointing to a large farmhouse in the distance, surrounded by fields on two sides. Empty fields, I might add. Behind is a large forest reaching up over the further hills. The fourth side of the house is sheltered by farm buildings, outhouses, barns and sheds. There's no sign of Dunwich. How far is this from Dunwich?
The whole area is technically all part of Dunwich, but it is a few miles. Dean's Corners is actually closer, but is merely a village. Maybe a few hundred people live there. Here's the gate. Hello? Anyone home?
I thought you said no one lived here with him.
Just in case. We don't want to go barging in if that wasn't Whately last night, or if he actually does have someone else here.
What do you think he's done with all the cattle? Obviously there isn't any out here. And I would imagine we'd hear them if they were in the barn by now.
Indeed. Let's check the house first. Then we can check the barn. Mr. Whately!
Is it normal for people to leave the doors unlocked around here?
Out here. I wouldn't read too much into that. Do you?
Yeah, I smell it. I'd rather not say what it is, but something smells really bad in here. I didn't see a phone line as we walked up. Does he even have one?
I don't think so. At least, not one that's publicly listed anywhere.
The house has a fairly normal layout. We're in a hallway that has a staircase up and a basement down. There's a living room, a second reception room. At the back looks to be a kitchen, and I would guess a dining room.
You check the reception room. I'll check the living room.
Split up?
We'll be like 12 or 15 feet away from each other at most. I think we will be fine.
We'll never split the party.
What?
Never mind. Back in the hallway in a few minutes and we can check out the kitchen together, yeah?
Agreed. Shout if you need anything in the meantime.
Well, everyone, I have to say I don't really like sneaking around someone else's house. Especially if they are dead or melted or whatever the hell happened to him. This case, I really want it to be so much simpler than this. This is exactly what I had wanted to avoid and move from. Never to touch with a 10-foot barge pole again. And yet, here I am. I don't think there's anything here. It's just a room with some chairs, bookcases, with a lot of right-wing propaganda, a radio, an old radio, tables, nothing unusual. Maybe just a little bit out of time with the rest of the world. At least the smell in here is better than the hallway. The other room's a bust.
Yes, this one also seems to be somewhat of a waste of time. There are empty envelopes from Kerwin, Olney, and Marsh, but no sign of any letters. At least we know that they've had some further contact, but it's not really much of a surprise. Do you have the sensation that we are being watched?
Not especially. Do you?
I'm fairly certain there is someone outside, watching through the windows.
What should we do?
I think we should continue as we were, but be on our guard.
The kitchen, then? Oh, well, the kitchen is...
Slaughterhouse.
There's bits, I guess is the best word, of what I hope is the cattle that has gone missing. But it's been here for a long time. This isn't just since Whately came to the university. If it was him. It takes longer for that shade of green to...
Do you want to go and get some air? I could take a quick look and meet you out front in a minute.
Good idea. I honestly don't know what we expected to find here. I kind of feel like I'm just along for someone else's ride. And besides, I can't really piece this together yet. It seems Kerwin, Olney and Marsh have not joined the link between their need for the Necronomicon and Dr. Rice and her Ibn Ghazi powder. Surely it's only a matter of time before they do. Hello? Listen, I've had plenty of things jump out at me. Who's there? What the f... Oh, Dr. Rice, Jesus. Did you...
Yes, what was it?
Oh, there wasn't anything. I mean, I didn't see anything. It came from the barn.
Let's check it. Hello? Mr. Whately?
The barn's completely clean and empty except for a few tools in the back corner. There's another double door opposite, but it's barred closed. There isn't even a hayloft for someone to hide in.
There's nothing here.
We should check back in with Dr. Armitage. If he hasn't found anything, then I don't know.
If Henry hasn't found anything, then all we can do is wait for Kerwin, Olney, and Marsh to make their next move. You go on ahead. Henry will be in his office.
Well, what about you?
I need to go and check something. I'll be back soon.
Do you think it's wise to go off alone? Kerwin only...
Let me worry about them. Go on.
I have a bad feeling, and I instantly regret saying that, about Dr. Rice going off by herself. And I'm here again at the university, waiting. I told Dr. Armitage everything from the Whately farm. I think he was surprised that we found nothing. He also wasn't too impressed with Dr. Rice going off on her own, but he understood, thankfully, that there was really nothing I could do to stop her. Dr. Armitage had even less to tell me. Maria Carter's story seemed like it was coming to an unceremonious end, a death that is still a mystery, but at least I had found a little more understanding of her life running up to it. Now all I could do was worry about Dr. Rice, the solicitors, and of course, Ibn Ghazi.
I have been through some of the book, but I haven't found anything about Ibn Ghazi. So I have no idea why Kerwin wants the Necronomicon, or the powder.
You told me that there are other copies of the book.
Yes, I'd rather not go into where they are, but I have been in contact with the owners. Like me, they are concerned. Kerwin, Olney, and Marsh have made attempts to get at them, but unsuccessfully. So, all the known copies are accounted for. But? All our copies share one common feature that we know of.
What?
A page has been removed from them all. There are a few translation differences and ordering differences, but there's always a page missing. And I have personal reason to believe that there is another copy, unaccounted for, with that page. Hello? Yes, I see. Thank you.
What happened?
That was a contact I have with the local police. A family over in Dean's Corners has been killed.
That's terrible. Should I shut my recorder off?
No.
Let me guess, this family, they're linked somehow.
They border the Whately farm. This wasn't normal. Something, not someone, killed this family.
When I was at the farm, I heard police sirens. It must have been for this.
It was like they fell from a great height, or crushed by something.
Jesus. It can't be anything to do with this, though.
I don't know. The book describes things like this. Invisible creatures.
Would learning more about Ibn Ghazi help us? Link this poor family to whatever is happening?
We need to go see if Dr. Morgan has made any headway.
We've come to see Dr. Morgan. Dr. Armitage gave him the ashes in the leather bag, the powder of Ibn Ghazi. His office is a mess. Someone's turned the place over. There's no sign of Dr. Morgan. This must be Kerwin.
Kerwin and his cronies. Who else? It's safe to say they got the powder in, Dr. Morgan.
There must be security cameras or something. We should call the police.
And tell them what? And I think with that family's death in Dean's Corner, their time and attention is needed with something a little more important.
Important?
From their point of view, we will be wasting their time.
I mean, a missing person's important, I'm sure. Who are you calling?
Dr. Rice. She's not answering. Let's see if there are any notes or anything. We can still work out what Kerwin, Oni, and Marsh were about.
I still think we should be calling the police right about now.
Shh. Did you hear that?
It's coming from behind that door. Did Dr. Morgan have a cat?
No pets allowed in the offices.
Guard dog?
I doubt it.
Are you sure you want to open it? What? What?
Hey, Eric. Are you okay?
Angell? What are you... I mean, what was that? What did you do?
I don't know what that was. Lucky this worked, huh?
What is that?
Oh, it's called an elder sign. We found it in...
We?
Hello, Eric.
The Dunwich House Mystery was made for the Darkest Page podcast. Dr. Rice was played by Reeves Pearson. Dr. Armitage was played by Henry Shee. Angell was played by Ludwig Lagerkvis, with Emma Lydia as Harri. The Dunwich House Mystery was produced by Dogman and written and directed by the host.